Hey guys, it's Phoenix Android Radios here, and in this video we're going to be looking at the radio for the 2019 and above, all the way to 2022 Dodge Ram vehicles. This is a 13.6-inch radio. It has three versions. This is the 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of hard drive version. There is also a lower version at 4 gigs of RAM, 64 hard drive, and a higher version at 8 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of hard drive. The bezel itself you can customize to have either as silver or black. This is the silver. And you also have this trim piece around here that right now it is currently tungsten, but you can choose either silver or red. The top here has some carbon fiber finish, as well as a car lighter port, a cigarette lighter port. You will need to move the factory vents from your factory radio onto here, as well as the factory buttons here. So move the factory parts over to our radio. These are the buttons on the side, knobs, 2 extra buttons on each knob, the hazard, and the camera button. This supports the factory 360 camera as well as the factory backup camera, whichever one you have. Also, the race option is also supported with this radio. The front has a reset button that you can use a paperclip to press with. You don't need to hold it, just press it and it will reboot. On the left side, you have a built-in microphone, but you also have the option of disabling this and using the factory microphone on the vehicle. We also provide an external microphone, but we don't recommend connecting unless either the built-in one or the factory one is not working. You can use an external microphone. This whole bezel piece is included with the radio, so pop the factory out and place this into your car. On the back of the radio, you have the main connections here, the radio antenna, Wi-Fi antenna, a GPS screw-on antenna. We provide 2 items, an external antenna that we recommend using, or if you want to use the factory antenna on your car, screw this on to the top here and connect your vehicle's antenna to this connection. Right below the GPS is the SIM card antenna, and this is for the data if you want to insert a SIM card. There's a SIM card slot here, but there is also another SIM card slot on this set of cables with a SIM card reader here. So here is the this is the SIM card antenna, and that is a circular puck that you can screw onto here. You get 2 USB cables. One is for the built-in Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and that is the single USB port with the 4 pins on it. And this connects to here with the 4 pins clipped towards the bottom. And you also have a USB cable with 2 USB ports on them. This also do power and data, but no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. Use this one. This one is a 6-pin, and that connects right next to it. For the factory backup camera, if you have a factory backup camera or a factory 360 camera, there's 2 connections for the camera. One is this 10-pin connector here, and you get a cable with a 10-pin connection and a female RCA here. Connect that to here. This RCA needs to be connected for the factory camera to work, and also this red connection needs to be connected for the factory backup camera to work. Going back a little, you also have a USB adapter to support the factory USB port on the vehicle. And in this case, we'd be connecting it to the secondary USBs with the 2 USB ports on that cable. And that would be this one. This cable has 2 USB ports connected to one of them. And the other end goes to the vehicle to support the factory USB port on the car. The other 2 USB ports, route them out so that you have access to them when the radio's in the car. So maybe the glove compartment or the driver or passenger side kick plate. Cable you get is one with a lot of RCAs and the SIM card reader. This connection is really large and it goes right to the top here with the clip facing downwards. And on the RCAs, you have several. First we're going to find is the radio's audio output if you want to use an aftermarket sound system. And those are the FR, FL, RL, and RR outs, as well as the subwoofer out. The other RCAs we have are red, whites, yellows. We have an external mic input. Only connect an external mic if the radio's microphone or the factory vehicle's microphone is not working. Otherwise, you may have interference if you connect an external one. These RCAs, you have AuxR, AuxL in, as well as an aux CVBS and an aux AV in. These will let you support the factory aux jacks on the car, and you can see this, and you can hear this audio in the aux app on the radio. And you have two aux V ins. Use one or the other to see which one shows up on the app. And the last RCA is CVBS out 1. This may have no function. So this large connector, again, connects up here. And the last thing we're going to look at are power cords. For this vehicle, 2019 to 2021, you will mainly be getting this harness. And for vehicles 2022 Dodge Ram, we will be using this harness. So the 2022 Dodge Rams come with an adapter and the main harness. First we're going to be looking at is the 19 to 2020 Dodge Ram. If you have a factory CD player that is supported with these CDL and CDR RCAs, you have two other RCAs labeled Video Signal 1 and Video Signal 2. Video Signal 1 is an input for the Blu-ray player or the factory CD player. Video Signal 2 is for a factory secondary camera. And you have AuxR and AuxL in. These are to support the factory aux jack on the vehicle. And you have another one labeled Camera Signal. This male RCA goes towards the box here, but for the factory backup camera, we'll be using the male RCA that comes from this connector here, and that is labeled Rear View Cam. On this harness for the 2019 to 2020, you also have a microphone output. This is the factory microphone, but do not connect this. The circuit's already in the board. This is not needed. You also have the radio antenna, forgot to mention, goes on the top here. And this adapter connects to the vehicle. And on the main harness, you have this connector with the 2 green wires with a 8-pin connector, which connects to the top here. So we'll connect this up here. Connect the canvas communication connector to the back of the radio, which is kind of hidden here, but the clip faces upwards, and that would go in here. Before we get to these RCA connections, let's look at the camera. For the Dodge Ram, the factory backup camera needs to have 2 connections. One is this red connector here coming from your factory car, as the same color should be, and then can plug in here. Once the video feed goes through here, it will output to this connector here. Following it, there is a male RCA labeled Rear View Camera. And this camera RCA will connect to the 10-pin connector at the top here with this female labeled Camera Video In. So for the factory backup camera or the factory 360 camera, connect the RCA male from the corresponding connector here and connect the factory LVDS line to this connector here. Coming to the left here, we have the power connector that goes to the back of the radio here. you have the box plug that connects to the vehicle, and you have all these RCAs. So this RCA for the video signal 1 corresponds to the input on the factory Blu-ray player or CD player. AUX-L and AUX-R in. This is to support the factory aux jack on the vehicle. So this we can connect to AUX-in and AUX-R on this radio. So we have AUX-R in and AUX-L in. And by connecting this, you should be able to hear the audio through the AUX app on the radio. Camera signal comes from the box connector. For the Dodge Ram, this is not used. And you have CDL and CDR to hear the audio from the factory CD player if you have one. And video signal 2 is for a secondary factory camera and this is for the 2019 to 2021 harness. For the 2022 Dodge Ram vehicles, you're going to have a different harness, but everything else connects the same. There is an adapter here to change this plug into a smaller plug that can fit at the top here, the power plug. But looking at this really quickly, we'll plug this to the top here. This is for the 2022 Dodge Ram. There is 2 green wires here with a 8-pin connector. Connects to the top here with the clip facing downwards. You have RCA-RR and RCA-RL. These are outputs for the radio's sound. Find the canvas connection that connects to the bottom here. And find that here. Clip facing upwards. On this connector, you have a male RCA. If you follow the wire here, there's a male RCA. This is for the factory backup camera or the factory 360 camera. This male RCA connects to this 10-pin connector at the top of the radio, which is this cable. Connect this for the factory backup camera or the factory 360 camera. You also need to connect this red connector that comes from your vehicle. If not, both of these need to be connected for the factory 360 camera or the factory backup camera to work. On the harness, you have a blue, green, and a black connector. For the 2022 vehicle, you will not be using this connector. Instead, use the green and the blue. So connect the green, connect the blue to the vehicle. And on this blue connector is where you have those RCAs for the factory DVD player or Blu-ray player, as well as the factory CD player. You have the AUX-R and AUX-L in RCAs to support the factory aux jack on the vehicle. And AUX-R and AUX-L can connect to the AUXs on this connector. And the factory DVD, Blu-ray, or CD player. And for the factory DVD, Blu-ray player, or CD player, you can also connect to the AUX-R and AUX-L in. But you need a splitter if you plan to use both of them, the factory aux jack and the factory player. You have male RCA labeled rear camera, which you will not be using because the camera comes from this connector down here. And you have another DVD. This is for the factory Blu-ray disc. And this connector is the video feed for the factory video Blu-ray player. And that can connect to AUX-V. AUX-CVBS in or AUX-V. Try one of those two out. And that is here. So that is the 2022 Dodge Ram connection. Similar to the 2019 to 2021, only difference is you have these two connectors and you're no longer using this. For the 2022 Dodge Rams, you have this connector to support the factory USB port. It's a different connection from the 2019 to 2021. So 2022, you can connect this to the 2 USB port adapter right here and connect this to the car. The bottom here has the connection for the air conditioning. Depending on your vehicle, you may have a gray connector from the car or a black connector from the car. And if you have both, connect the connector that allows your hazard buttons to work. So the one that gets the hazard button working, whether it be black or gray, use that one. Those are the connections for the 2019 all the way to 2022 harness for the Dodge Ram. If you guys have any questions, can give us a call or send us an email. And this is the 13.6-inch model with 6 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of hard drive. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.